We find ourselves in a place where we have a political party that, for most measures, used to be fairly progressive as it related to the environment and embracing change, who seems to have only adopted one thing from that former party, and that's the word conservative. Yep. All they want to do is conserve and make sure that we cannot evolve or transition at all. Mr. Speaker, there's something called the innovation curve. And the innovation curve is basically a bell curve that will tell you at what point in various different technologies you are currently at. So at the beginning of the curve is your 0 to 2% range. And people who buy into a new innovation at the bottom of that curve are called innovators. These are the people that have the resources to do it, that buy certain technologies because they enjoy and like the technologies. Those are the innovators. Next to that, between 2 and 10%, those are the early adopters. These are the people that see and don't quite have the same resources that the innovators have, but are still very interested in the technology, might be motivated from not just an economic perspective, but maybe a social perspective. After that, on the innovation curve, you get to the early majority. This is basically between 10 and 40%. This is when that new technology has penetrated the market between 10 and 40%. So this is when things start to really kick off. This is actually the chasm point, which is at about 7.5%, is considered the tipping point. At that point, it's just a matter of going through the innovation curve. Then after that, from 40 to 70%, you have the late majority. So the late majority are the people who reluctantly buy on, realize, okay, yes, this is going to be more affordable, so therefore I'm going to buy this. I don't really want the technology, but I accept the fact that the rest of the world is embracing it. And then at the end of that, the 70, when you finally get to market penetration of 70 to 100%, you have what are called the laggards. These are the people that would still be using a rotary phone today if they could, but they have no other choice but to use a touch-tone phone because the world evolved around them and there was no choice. The laggards are the conservatives.
I knew it.
These are the people who absolutely refuse to embrace the technological change. Right now, 1 in 5 cars in the world sold is an electric vehicle. That means that along the innovation curve, we are currently at 20%, which is well into the early majority. We have well past the tipping point, Mr. Speaker, and we will not come back from this. So the question is, do you want to be at the forefront of what's going on? Or do you want to be a laggard like conservatives are? Do you just want to wait until you have absolutely no choice but to embrace the technology that the rest of the world around you has already concluded is the only path forward? And I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, my position on this is that we have the opportunity to be at that forefront. We have the opportunity to have some of that investment happening right in our country so that we can be outputting that to the rest of the world so that we're exporting it instead of just importing it. So I really hope that we can get to a point where conservatives can finally start to realize that the world around them is changing. And whether or not they want to participate in it is quite irrelevant because it's going to change. Our perspective is we just want to be at the forefront of that, and we invite conservatives to join us.